This episode of Chuffed Adventures, we give you a taste of marina life, Joel cuts the dinghy in half, and we save some marine life. Fish Hook Marina is located on the eastern shore of the Golfito Bay. There are only 3 marinas in town, and Fish Hook is our favourite. They also offered us the best deal, especially because we can't connect to shore power. Fish Hook Marina has water and electricity facilities, shower facilities, a restaurant, and a very dangerous happy hour which goes from 4 till 8 every day. Other than the week we spent on the dock in Isla Viveros, this was our first time in a proper marina, and we were getting used to the reduced privacy and squeaks from the dock. But we were also enjoying the conveniences of simply stepping off the boat and onto the dock. We'd also made some friends with the local wildlife, observing a pelican and egret who don't let their differences get in the way and seem to enjoy watching each other's fishing techniques.
What have we here? Maybe you shouldn't go in there. Pretty cute though. Where are you going? Aww.
Joel was heading off to do a visa run, so I spent the day tackling some boat jobs. Being at the marina is a good time to do a lot of the jobs that we haven't done or been putting off. So I'm going to look at sticking back down these little pieces of wood that have come off. And then I'm also going to look at doing some oiling some of the teak and things on the boat as well. Just to try and get a few little things done that are easy to ignore while we got some time, and it's easy to do with the boat not moving and stuff. So yeah, boat job day. So I'm going to start by sanding back the areas I need to stick the wood back onto, make it nice and clean. Alright, so I've got pretty much all of the sealant off now, or the adhesive, so I should be able to look at giving it a bit more of a clean with some alcohol to clean the surface a little more on the aluminium, and then stick it on. Stuck those 3 steps back on and they all look pretty even. So our teak is starting to get quite cracked. So I'm going to look at doing some oiling today, and I'm going to use a little sponge because a lady on one of the antique boats that has heaps of teak said that they've been using a sponge and it works really well. So we'll find out if it does. So it's getting closer and closer to being finished. Joel's done all the fiberglassing on the top and the inside and sanded it. So the next steps are to put the bolts in so we can put it back together properly, and fiberglass the insides, and then just some finishing touches. It's getting close. Hey. So that's glued together, huh? It's a little sticky.
Epoxy sticks really good to concrete.
Hey, there you go. We had a few things to finalise before cutting the dinghy in half. First, I cut up some styrofoam to go into the buoyancy boxes, which we then fiberglassed into the inside of the dinghy. Next, Joel pre-drilled the holes and placed the bolts that would hold the dinghy together once it had been cut in half. It was important to do this before we cut it to make sure the pieces went back together perfectly. While Joel was tackling those jobs, I decided to tackle a slightly different job and give Riley a summer makeover. She seemed to be a little more lethargic than normal, and we thought the heat might be getting to her. As it turns out, she was actually diagnosed with Ehrlichia and heartworm, which I'll tell you guys a little bit more about in the next episode. For a dog that's never been to the vet and never been shaved, she really seemed to like it. Finally, the moment that I had been waiting for and was very excited about. Time to cut the dinghy in half. So I just finished at the veterinary hospital with another turtle. We're turtle attractants at the moment. It was a pretty big day. I ended up walking to the clinic because I couldn't get money out for a taxi, and the card machine wasn't working, and it's like a 30-minute walk, and it was just so unbelievably hot. So by the time I got there, I was like sweaty, and I was meeting these veterinarians and the Ministry of Environment for the first time, and I had to be like, oh hey, I'm Sheddy, a vet from Australia who's covered in sweat and really red. Anyway, but we were worried there was fishing line hanging out of the turtle's mouth, so we were really worried there could be a fish hook stuck somewhere inside of her. She had lost 25 kilograms in 6 weeks, which is a huge amount, 1/3 of her body weight. So I organised with one of the local veterinarians to work with us so that we could take some x-rays of her and investigate a little bit further as to what might be happening. This lovely big green sea turtle had previously been tagged for research purposes, and that's how the researchers knew she'd lost so much weight. While we waited for the x-ray to develop, we gave her a really good check over and found she was extremely dehydrated, so we began administering some fluids. We found out that she did not have a hook inside her, so slowly pulled almost 2 meters of line out of her mouth. Just over a week later, I was lucky enough to be able to go out and visit her again at the turtle sanctuary she was staying at. Over the course of that week, she'd not only pooped out a bunch of twigs and sticks, but also another 2 meters of fishing line. She also had a term we were calling bubble butt, which is a buoyancy disorder which causes her bottom to float up above her head and makes it very difficult for her to dive down. It can be very difficult to diagnose the cause of this issue, but luckily Dr. Esteban, who is a turtle doctor from up north, was in town giving us a hand. We took blood and found out that she had a very low PCV, which means that her body's not got enough red blood cells. We also performed another examination, and you can see just how skinny this turtle really is. We formulated a treatment plan for her over the next few weeks, much of which simply involves feeding and rest. A green sea turtle of this size is reproductively active, so she definitely would be contributing to the populations in the area, so we felt it was very important to get her better. We'll keep you updated on her progress over the next few weeks and check back in with her. Alright, I'm out the front of Fish Hook waiting for Sally to do another border run to get some groceries. Keep you guys updated on costs and what we get and how we work it out. Get some Tico air conditioning. I like that. We try to keep things cheap and easy on the boat, and storage is a big issue. So things like beans, rice and pasta are a must. Lots of spices and flavourings like coconut milk for curries help keep things a bit interesting, And of course we do spoil ourselves a little with things like cookies and snacks. Because I'm a vegetarian, fruit and vegetables make up a big part of our diet. Cabbage is the most amazing vegetable to have on board, takes forever to go bad. Very important stock. A lot of people forget about the step after provisioning, which is getting everything back onto the boat and trying to store it all. If you've ever wondered why liveaboards always look pretty fit, this is the reason. Alright, so one of the hardest things on a boat after doing a bit of a provision like this is storing everything, especially on a boat that's not really big. So what I'm going to do with all of our fruit and vegetables is look at putting them in individual Ziploc bags so they can be kept in the fridge. Anything that doesn't need to go in the fridge, because our fridge is small, will go in the fruit hammock. And we've got given like a bunch of grapefruits. I also bought a watermelon for really cheap while I was out. So with those, I'm actually going to peel them, cut them into little pieces, and then look at freezing some in the Marina freezer, which is really handy to have at the moment, and the rest can go in our fridge. So try and minimize the space on board as much as possible. So another useful thing is combining stuff. So we got Raisin Bran and cornflakes. The cornflakes are really, really cheap, so I'm going to mix them half-half, and that way we get some of the deliciousness of the Raisin Bran but the cheapness of the cornflakes. And I'm going to put it in some proper storage as well, so it keeps for ages. I just have to show you guys how good this curry dish is going to turn out. All those veggies and then the rice, and I'm going to add some coconut milk, some curries and spices and chickpeas, and it's going to be so dang delicious. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to run you through what we spent and what we got out of it. So in total we spent $125 US. Now that includes around 14 dinners. So for example, we've got enough for 2 curries, 3 pastas, 3 rice and bean dishes, 3 stir fries, and also just some miscellaneous stuff. Sometimes I just like to, you know, cook some eggs and veggies with soy sauce, things like that. It also includes breakfast for around probably 3 weeks worth. We've got some bread, and you saw the cereal and milk, so that'll cover all that. And also some snacks, so things like nuts. We splurged and got Nutella because it's really delicious, and sometimes you just gotta splurge. Muesli bars, things like that. And it also includes lunches, in that I always make sure I make a really big dinner and then we put it in the fridge overnight and eat it the next day for lunch. So I guess when I say we've got enough for 14 dinners, we also have enough for 14 big good lunches. But obviously things like the bread and veggies can be made up for lunches as well. And we also ended up getting some, you know, yummy stuff, like I said, the Nutella, cookies, we got some sodas. And we also like to buy one set of entertainment food. So for example, like a tin of olives and maybe a nicer cheese and some crackers, just because it's nice if you have people over to be able to offer them something other than, you know, canned vegetable style food. So yeah, that's basically enough food for 2 people for 2 to 3 weeks, every meal included, for $125. So in Costa Rica, I think we've done really well on that price. And, you know, it means over a month we only spend, you know, less than $300 on food between the 2 people, between the 2 of us, and helps keep things affordable. So yeah, it's really good, and we didn't really miss out on anything. We got everything we wanted, so that's really awesome. Be sure to join us next episode as I head out to do a big spay and neuter campaign in a nearby town. Joel continues working on the dinghy, and I get to go snorkeling with my friend Phoebe. And as always, until next time, stay chuffed, everybody.